Go ahead and call us to order. We'll jump into public comment. The board takes public comment on issues and concerns not on the regular agenda at this time. A public comment request form must be submitted to the board liaison prior to the time the meeting is scheduled to begin. Public input on a regular agenda item will be taken at its appropriate discussion. Citizens should speak from the podium, address all comments to the dais. Begin by stating their name and address or single-member district number and limit their remarks to less than 3 minutes. So at this time, am I taking public comment? Is there any public comment? Going once, going twice? Okay. We'll move into item number 2, the consent agenda. Consider approving the January 9, 2025 meeting minutes, and I will entertain a motion once everybody's had a second to look at it.
I'll move that we approve the minutes.
Thank you, C. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ben. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Motion carries. All right. Item number 3, regular agenda, public hearing and comment. I don't have to ask for public hearing again, do I, and comment?
No, but I guess I thought of one thing. City council
Oh, yeah.
is asking folks to sign up for public comment, even if they're just going to speak on the item on the agenda. We'll probably need to do that next time.
Okay.
But other than that, these folks here are here for an item.
Perfect. All right. All right. So we'll do that next time or this time?
If somebody's going to speak,
They
who's
just
on
need
the
to
board or
identify-
staff,
okay, okay.
then they'll have to sign in
Cool.
to speak.
Perfect. All right. We'll move on to our agenda. Number 2, election of chair and vice chair. Is there any nominations for chair?
I nominate DJ.
I second.
Second, third.
Any other nominations? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Motion carries. Vice chair, any nominations? Did we have a vice chair? C was, of course, the vice chair.
DJ.
I couldn't remember, I'm sorry. Okay.
I won't be here after August, so for law school, I'll be moving.
To where?
I got accepted to tech.
Well, congrats.
So maybe there. Thank you all. Thank you.
You must have had good professors.
The best. That gave me A's, so thank you. But I was gonna nominate Emily Jane, but she's not here, so I didn't know if we could do that.
Knowing her schedule and all, I'm not sure she would accept. And Allison can't, she's the liaison.
Lucky.
Can we nominate Ben?
Said good attendance.
Okay.
Sure you can.
I would like to nominate Ben.
I'll second.
Any other nominations? All right. Yeah. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Well, motion carries. Congrats, Ben.
Thanks.
All right. And sorry, C. I don't think I missed a meeting this year. Carl was getting on to me last year for my attendance, and he was like, if you're going to do it, you got to show up to the meetings. And I'm like, okay. All right. Well, cool. Well, thanks for all the help. All right. Item number 3. Any other discussion on that? Anything else we need to put in the minutes, the records? Or okay. Item number 3, consider a request from the Salvation Army to use Producers Park for youth soccer league games for the spring 2025 season and recommend any related matters.
So, yeah, before y'all start, so I lived more than 50 years before realizing Salvation Army did sports. and particularly youth sports. And then some years ago, they approached us about doing youth sports. And typically when a group approaches us about doing league play in the parks and they don't have a home, we try to facilitate that. And we look at some of the parks that can accommodate that, like Kirby Park, Producers Park, to some extent Padrone Park. And so we try to find a place for them to play. So we had a request from the Salvation Army this year. We have new representatives. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Angie Hopgood. I'm the program coordinator for Victory Sports at the Salvation Army. It is my first year. This year we are doing soccer like we did the last. With Victory Sports specifically, it is a youth program that is centered around teaching the kids the gospel of Jesus Christ. So we're excited for possibly getting to use you guys as Producers Park in order to facilitate that with the games and soccer.
And as you know, we rent fields and open spaces for practices and all. So this request basically just accommodates like a block request for a whole season. Go ahead.
So I'm Major Martinez. I replaced Jesse with her. Y'all know Jesse Hernandez. Great soccer guy and everything. He helped us get the Victory Sports on its feet and everything, but time came for him to retire. He had some family things he had to take care of. And so he passed the baton to me. I'm not a soccer person at all. And I told Jesse, look at me. You really think I play soccer? Well, you're going to have to do it now. So I said, we found Angie here. And one of the biggest things about our Victory Sports is it's Christian-based, but we also target the low-income individuals who can't afford the big fees compared to SASAs, So we target that, and we get anywhere between 150 to 200 kids in any given season. So last year since all that happened, we had to take a step back, regroup. This year we're back on again. It's just a slow start, but by summertime, God willing, and everything goes good, you don't kick us out of there, out of the Producers Park, because all our kids know that place. They know what time we show up for the games. You'll see the kids running all over the place. I just want to give you a thank you, and I'll turn it over to her.
Perfect, thank you.
And so for the location, it's Producers Park, which is off North Bell and Ricks Drive. It's a community park in the northeast side of town. And there on the map, the northern arrow these are 2 soccer fields. These are 2 baseball fields. And y'all would like to use the open areas of those fields for practices. And also a few uses of the pavilion at the park. Mm-hmm. And here's more details about it. March through May, Saturdays, 9 to 1 p.m. And we figured out the total cost of just under $500. And they would have to get a certificate of insurance for their coverage.
Y'all were saying the fees that the kiddos got to pay to be on a team. What are some of the fees? I'm just curious.
Well, registration fee is the big one. Typically, we would like to reach out to sponsors to help with that.
Yeah.
Some people are not always, able to because they are reaching out to other communities. So with that fee, that's something that for low-income families, it's not feasible, because they're trying to work out other things in their lives. So that's something that we would like to, help diminish a little bit so that way they're at least able to be a part of something other than just schooling. They're able to enjoy their childhood and be around other kids and socialize as well.
Awesome, thank you.
Any other fees?
So one of the parts.
Come speak to the mic.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. One of the biggest things also with the fees, that we ask that the families to pay for the child, it provides a full uniform
Oh, nice.
and a trophy, or a medallion for the younger kids. So this way, when the season ends, they don't walk away empty-handed, And this is why we charge a nominal fee and we seek sponsorships for that, because also with that, it helps us subsidize the cost of hiring some program aides and the referees and pay for the use of the fields.
Awesome. 24
And-
teams, nice.
Staff recommends approval.
Any discussion? All right, well, entertain a motion. Do we need a motion to accept?
Yes, please.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we approve the request for the Salvation Army to use Producers Park as outlined.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. All right, motion carries. Thanks, guys.
So, thank you, guys.
Appreciate y'all. If somebody wants to find out more information on sponsoring a team or sponsoring, where do they go? Just holler at Angie.
I have some cards that I can leave with.
Okay, perfect. That sounds good. Thank y'all. Appreciate y'all.
Thanks so much.
Thank y'all. Have a good week. All right. We'll jump on down to item number 4, discuss and consider the proposed theme, style, and scope for Riverwalk wayfinding signage and recommended any related matters.
I'll start this off. Craig Kinney's also here and speak to it, but let me cover some ground on it first. Y'all have seen this before, most of y'all. These were the guiding principles that we started the project with and with the students. So I guess going back last fall, we hired Craig Kinney, architect, to work with us in the graphic arts class at ASU. The class broke down, they paired into teams, and each team worked on their ideas of what the wayfinding could look like. And we met, I think, 3 or 4 times with them in total. And at the very end, we picked one team and have been working with them since then in the final direction. So our next step is to, after taking it to the boards, to take it to city council, and I'm hoping to take it on February 18, the next meeting. So here, there's 3 main signs. There's map signs, there are information signs, and there are directional signs. Let me go back. The map signs, I think there's 3 of these. One would be near the golf course or Civic League Park on the west end. One would be more central. We have a map that shows it in a minute. And then another one would be on the east end. Informational signs would go at key locations like the Visitor Center, Waterloo Collection, Kids Kingdom, places like that. And then most of the signs are directional signs. Craig can speak about the materials and all and thoughts about the design, but let me skip ahead. Here's locations for the signs. It's a total of 24. And we may make a pitch to continue a little bit farther down into Texas Bank Sports Complex, which would add a few more signs and some cost. I'll let Craig talk to the materials costs. 21 directional signs, information signs, basically the same, 163,800, and then 3 map signs for a total of 192,300 plus contingency, so just over $200,000. As far as the budget, we are budgeted for design, but we're not budgeted for implementation of the project. We got to get council's approval on that and a budget amendment if they're interested in that. And hopefully we can do this spring, and summer, so this year. You want to talk about signs and materials and?
Sure, if you'll go back to this is the wayfinding sign. It'll have a map of the Concho River. And what you're not seeing is below that, there's little descriptions of the visitor center, Fort Concho, Kids Kingdom. And those will be red dots on that map so that it's, it's a typical map type sign that's pretty easy to get around. And that steel is called Corten steel. You've seen it around. You may have seen the signage at the Bosque. It's rusted steel, and it rusts up to a certain level, and then it just stops because the rust actually acts as a protection after it's rusted. So it's sturdy. It's not going anywhere. There's also a concrete base that you can see. That's for any mowers or weed eaters that may come by. The edge of that sign is brushed stainless steel. And the actual sign itself is the latest iteration of the high-density polyethylene, I don't know the technical term, but it's the best stuff the signage company makes. It's the top of their line. And lastly, the letters up there, Concho River Trail, would be brushed aluminum. And this particular sheet of steel is 5 feet wide by 8 feet tall. If you'll flip to the next one. These other signs are 2.5 feet wide by 8 feet tall. So in essence, we're trying to buy one sheet of 5 foot wide steel, Corten, it's expensive, and slice it down the middle and then use it both sides so that we're just using one sheet rather than cutting up a bunch of different sheets. And lastly, if you'll go to this sign, again, that International Water Lily Garden, that is the high quality signage, polyethylene, whatever it is. We like this direction in that it's very flexible. You can add, let's say we wanted to add sunken garden to that sign. We can add it below that. And on the other side, you can add to it as well. And the sunken garden is that way, but Kids Kingdom is that way. And so each sign would be different. You can, if one gets damaged, you can take it off and have it remade and put back on. And these signs are, depending on the budget, we can add some, we can take some away as well. So we're in favor of the flexibility and the maintenance issues. Questions?
One thing I wanted to point out is we aren't considering adding lighting to these. That would add cost, and I personally don't think it's necessary. And again, it would drive up the cost a lot and the maintenance of it.
Lighting would add substantially to the costs. And there's maintenance there. We have to dig trenches to get the electric lines there. There's just a lot of work to get there.
If you'll go back to one of the pictures that you guys got, like that one, I love the cleanliness of it. The way that it looks is sharp looking. Is there any reason we need to put like a City of San Angelo or like Parks logo on it anywhere?
Go back to the wayfinding sign if you would.
Maybe just that one. We put that one on. I got you.
That wayfinding sign will have the City of San Angelo. It won't have Parks Department. It's y'all's call. I mean,
Gotcha.
we can add that. How to do it in an elegant way is we need to think about that.
Gotcha. But we could do that on the map.
Sure.
Yeah.
Not the steel or the structure.
Right.
Nice.
And we had the students downplay that because we didn't want it to seem overly governmental.
Yes. Gotcha. I just want to make sure that was taken into consideration. That's good. You guys did good. That looks sharp.
Good. Yeah, we're happy with the direction.
So I guess we're just looking for any more input and questions.
I do have another question. What is, in comparison to what would go there to what's on the Red Arroyo trails, what's the material difference? Because those have gotten really sun faded. And I don't even know when those were installed. too,
Yeah,
though. But,
You're talking about mostly the map?
yes,
Yeah, honestly, I don't recall, but things have advanced since then. What year was that put in, 2016 or?
8 years, 10 years ago?
Things have gotten better since then, but it is an important point for us to remember because we don't want it to fade in just a few years.
It's a great concern, and that's why we're going for the highest quality we can because of the UV issues with that. In terms of the fading, in time, it'll probably fade. However, it's the highest quality out there, and it's built to resist that as best our technology knows.
does that material have any warranty with it?
The signs, I'm sure there'll be.
Say if it's 2 years and it's,
Yeah, I'm sure
you know,
there'll be probably a
faded.
1-year workmanship warranty. Do
It's
you
a great
recall?
question. I haven't asked that question.
We'll find out.
This may be a silly question. So that's obviously what we're looking at now. Is there going to be the same map on the back of that or no?
For these map signs, yes.
Okay. Gotcha.
One thing that I'm always concerned about is just ADA compliance with the location of these. I know that I'm part of the ADA Advisory Committee. I know that we're trying to schedule like our first meeting after the holidays. Has there been any interaction that I'm unaware of making sure that these are appropriate and located appropriately?
Yes, there has been. As an architect, I'm familiar with the ADA generally. And these will all be placed right along the trail, easily readable. And, you know, the map signs will have, you can see a little semicircle there where a wheelchair could get next to it and read that sign. The other ones, because the print will be large enough and up high, they won't have the semicircle, but you will be able to read it as you go by.
Thank you.
All right. Any other discussion?
It would be
Motion
good to
to
get a recommendation.
Just a recommendation. Okay. Gotcha.
Yes, please. So I can take that to council.
Okay. Do a
With-
motion and a second for a recommendation, or just say we're good? with what
Yes,
we
please.
recommend? We do?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. So I'll entertain a motion to recommend this to council.
Make the motion.
Okay, is there a second?
A second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Thank you, Craig.
Thank y'all.
Yes, sir. Okay. Next item on the docket, review the Mountain View Park Skate Park, consider its continuation and recommend any related matters. Kevin?
Mountain View Park, it's over by TLCA and the Loop, Mill Spa and Chestnut, I think, of the streets. And it's located, the skate park is located on the court, which at one point was a volleyball court next to the tennis court. Here's a picture of it, I guess, about last week.
It's not the best picture considering it just rained, but
Yeah,
but
I wasn't going to go back out there.
I understand. I don't fault you, Carl. It's okay. It actually has seen much improvement since that picture was taken. We actually filled in, as you can see, like the open parts of those ramps. Actually, just got a brand new piece of plywood that's all covered in now. So we've been seeing lots of debris and trash that were kind of accumulating inside
Right.
those ramps.
Like that.
So we filled all those in, removed all that trash,
Good.
all the things that were accumulating inside there. Pretty much anything that had an open end, we've kind of filled in. So no trash will be accumulating, and we've also added additional trash cans to the park to prevent that from
Good.
making it more accessible for the kids so they don't have to walk, 20 yards away to the trash cans. So
We can go back to the pictures if we need to, but just to remind the board, about a little over a year ago, the board considered this and I recommended having it placed there on a temporary basis, a probationary basis for a year, and that we'd revisit it. So it's been a year. And we've spent time monitoring, checking it. We have to inspect it, make sure it's safe. And Kevin's been great to work with. He makes sure things get taken care of if there's an issue. And I thought somebody said something.
He said thank you.
I said thank you.
For the record.
Oh, okay.
For the record show.
And because of this situation, we do recommend approval for another year on a probationary basis. We do need to, at some point, talk about, I don't see this as a permanent skate park with the equipment that's being made. If we are to have a permanent skate park there, I think we need to consider that if we want to do that. And if we do, we need to have more commercial equipment out there because this equipment does take more maintenance and it doesn't last as long. So having a skate park there has been great. I love it. But with the equipment we have there, I think it still should just be probationary. And one direction we could go is also a lease, but I don't think the group is prepared to go into
Right.
lease with the city.
The majority of the, funds that we've been raising have been, put towards the refurbing of the Riverside Skate
Yeah, I
Park,
was
which
gonna
we've
mention that.
repaired some of the things there, and we've noticed, quite a bit of improvement recently. It's been painted, and
Yes.
we did notice that, and the skaters do appreciate that as well.
Yes.
So, but I did want to just also state that, the community in the surrounding neighborhoods of the skate park, greatly appreciate the opportunity for us to have the park there. I speak to lots of, families that, frequent this park on a regular basis, and they appreciate it more than we realize because a lot of these kids don't have the availability to travel down to the Riverside Skate Park or the one on Kirby Skate Park on 29th Street. So having this park readily available to them is a great asset. There's kids there every single day, and they appreciate the park. They take care of it. They try to clean up after themselves, and a lot of the local families frequent this place, and they take care of it. They alert me if anything kind of looks suspicious or if something that's broken. So people do appreciate it, and I wanted to say also, surrounding cities outside of San Angelo are even taking notice of some of the things that we're doing and coming down and frequenting the parks. I even got welcomed to go down to Midland 2 weeks ago and speak to their Parks and Recreations Department and tell them about some of the things that we're doing in San Angelo and some of the successes that we're having here and developing skate programs and things like this. So we're getting a lot of attention outside of San Angelo in Midland, Odessa, Abilene, even Lubbock. People asking us what we're doing to kind of create these things, and it's getting a lot of positive momentum going on. So whether we realize it or not, other people are looking at some of the things that we're doing and taking notice of it. So it's having a positive, snowball effect around our communities, which a lot of the skaters appreciate. And since we've started developing these, our communities, the skating community has doubled.
Good.
And a lot of kids are starting off, and this is a great opportunity for them to further their development in skating and giving them a positive outlet. So I appreciate the opportunity that we've been able to have this, and I appreciate if we were able to get another year extension to do it.
You get out there pretty often and skateboard?
Oh,
Kevin?
God, more often than I'd like to.
Good boy, that's good to hear.
3 to 4 times a week, probably at least. So
Good.
Yeah, I maintain it, but I'm also an addict of skating the place. So it's much appreciated for me too. So
Good deal.
I love it, and I live 2 blocks away, so I skate here on a regular basis, and keep an eye out on it and make sure everything's good. And
Good.
So
I'm a big fan of watching what people do, not what they say, so that's good. I like that.
Thank you. So,
Awesome.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I love the idea of accommodating the skating activity here at this location. They came to us with a request. We figured out if we could accommodate it. It does put a burden on us more so that we have to check it, inspect it. If you notice on this one slide here, we have to post these signs that state that legally that this is a skating facility, and you have to watch yourself, and the city's limited in terms of liability. Except that we have to check it, inspect it, and if there's an issue, we either remove it, close it down, let him know so he can fix it. But overall, it's been nice to be able to accommodate it.
And anything that ever becomes damaged or broken, we're very, very quick to get those repaired, because I understand, we don't want any kids, injured in any of these, ramps that we're using. We understand that skating is dangerous enough as it is, so we don't want to have anything questionable or have anything, deteriorating on our end. So that's why we're doing so many of these fundraisers, to make sure we have the funds to repair these things quickly and, as promptly as we can.
And just a random question, if somebody is at the skate park, breaks their arm on the piece of plywood or whatever it is, who is liable for that?
That's a good question. I mean, right now, they would be, because of the signage, they would be responsible, being it's a skate at your own.
Yeah,
But
At your own risk.
luckily, nothing has been damaged to the point of where it would compromise someone's activity. So that is making sure that everything is maintained so that doesn't become an issue. So
And it
going
had to be
forward-
investigated.
Like
Yeah.
a pool without a lifeguard, swim at your own risk kind of thing, skate at
Yeah.
your own risk.
Yeah, so I mean, even like right here, like that part right, you can see where the water kind of rests and stuff like that. When I notice that it rains, I'm out there with a squeegee and literally squeegeeing it off and making sure everything doesn't get weathered, doesn't get deteriorated. And if anything does, if, say, screws get exposed or something like that, we're quick to get those swapped out as quick as possible.
Awesome.
So we're on the ball as best we can be. So.
We appreciate
DJ, I
it.
may add that not too long ago, this particular group was able to donate or provide funds for us to use as a city to make some necessary repairs and additions to the river skate park. And so
Nice.
that has helped dramatically from the standpoint of a budget standpoint on my end. And so we have a really good working relationship with Kevin Little and his group. And so we appreciate what they offer and what they do.
Yeah, we appreciate that. So thank you.
Awesome, yeah. I was gonna ask, what was the status of, wasn't at one point in time we were looking at San Saba of buying some materials out there from one of their old skate parks?
Yeah,
We
Lano-
were looking into that. It wasn't nearly as a credible source as we were hoping for.
Gotcha.
When I kind of started
Facebook
investigating
Marketplace.
further into it, that same park had shown up in like Kansas and other places like in Oklahoma, and it looked kind of suspicious. So once I started investigating further, the original person had sold it in Kansas, and then people had taken that stolen image and then basically tried to create a false, you send me the money and then I'll sell you the skate park later on kind of thing. So sadly, once it seemed too good to be true, and it was. So
I like that. Gotta take a second look. Before
yeah,
you- okay, just
sadly.
making
So,
sure.
but yeah.
Well, thank y'all. Do we need a recommendation?
Yes, please.
Or any discussion before, I guess we talk about recommendation? Okay, all right. Well, I will entertain a motion to recommend that we extend this for another year.
Make the motion that we continue and
Awesome.
extend.
Second?
I'll second.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. All right. Motion carries. Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks, y'all. I appreciate it. Thank
Yes,
you so
sir.
much. for
Thank
all
you.
do. Thank you. So, appreciate it.
Okay. Next item, hear and discuss updates on Santa Rita Park renovation project and recommend any related matters. Heard y'all had a meeting yesterday.
We've had meetings, and I think we're at consensus. Yes? Okay, so this is probably the last version y'all saw of the conceptual improvements to Santa Rita Park. Not everything that's now in the conceptual is on this one. So it had included a picnic area on the top right, an amphitheater or outdoor classroom, a natural playground, a raised garden, the planter, pickleball courts, those have already been converted to pickleball. It included a shade structure by the pickleball court. It included some parking, a trail, and other, repairs to the rock wall along the creek and the bridge, and other things like benches and irrigation. This was the outdoor classroom concepts. So what we did, and we had different meetings, we worked up a survey of the things we've talked about in the meetings and had folks fill out those surveys. We got 21 in, and we had a deadline of February 2. And that's the scoring results of that survey of the different items. So it was clear everybody wanted irrigation for the park. and we can do that. And you can see the landscaping going down. Folks did want the natural playground, some of the landscaping items, the walking path. And then we figured we're going to have the parking area, so we've got to include that. But we cut the line off at the outdoor classroom, portable restroom. And we're not going to cut out benches and tables. You got to have some of those, but we cut out the court shade structure. And then you see some comments that folks said about different things. So we went back and cleaned up the conceptual, took the low scored items out, the court shade, the outdoor classroom, that picnic area on the top right, took that out. Kept in the natural playground and some of the other items you see there. And then looking at the costs, total, about $350,000 in terms of estimated costs. Good thing is Mario chased down some estimates on irrigation, so this figure will cover, we anticipate, irrigating all the east side and much of the west side of the park, plus some way to include drip irrigation. And we intend to contract that out. A lot of the other stuff will be done in-house. We will try to contract as much as we can on the rock wall and bridge repairs. We still need a mason. And then a lot of the other things like natural playground, tree plantings and all we'll do ourselves. Probably the walking path too. Probably have to contract the road repairs and the parking area. So what we have is 100,000 half-cent sales tax, and we need to raise 250,000. We've held 3 different neighborhood meetings. Last one was last night. And so the next step for me is to inform City Council where we're at, but also strategize with the group. We'll probably meet later again in February and talk about fundraising and how we can do that. Of course, grants is a possibility. Also some crowdfunding. And so we talked last night about all the different tasks and divvying those out as to who's going to do what. Hold social events to keep the project alive and bringing in donations. And then we also talked about utilizing the new foundation. So that's definitely a possibility. They're definitely interested in doing that once that's fully set up. And so this is really just an update. We don't need any recommendation on this.
Okay, nice. Thank you, Carl. Any other discussion? Okay. Next item, we'll discuss the Kiwanis open space property, consider possible future improvements to it, and recommend any related matters.
Some of y'all may remember some years ago, I don't know how long ago it was, 4 or 5 years ago, 6 years, Julie Raymond approached us about creating an art park at this location. So Kiwanis Park, well, let me back up. So at that time, we'd gotten the warped message that, we don't want to take on new development because that takes on new maintenance costs. So don't go that direction. Maintenance costs still are a concern, but I think not quite as much as they were at that time. And with a few years left here at the city, I'm trying to keep some projects alive. I don't want direction on this, but I just want to plant the seed. Let me back up. Some background. This property was downgraded from a park to open space back in the recession 2008, 2009. And anticipated renovation costs would not be very high, $150,000 to $200,000 plus additional $18,000 to $20,000 a year maintenance. And basically, my concept is just to create like a mini arboretum where you'd have a walking trail, some benches, irrigation. And it would be a place for education for homeowners to know what kind of trees do well in our area. We've done that with different gardens around the city, working with the Extension Service, particularly at Kirby Park, also at Rio Concho Park along the river. What else? That would mostly be the improvements of irrigation, walking path, trees, interpretive information, a little bit of lighting, and some benches. So I just want to keep the ideal alive and plant the seed. I'm not looking for direction.
Where is this located?
Thank you. Avenue N is on this side. No, sorry, this side.
Wait,
This is
I lost your point.
A&M. So HEB is farther down this way.
The old HEB.
Yeah, the
Oh,
first
that big
one.
old space.
Yeah, it's Greens, it's just open lot.
Beauregard is right there too.
And looking at this, okay, so you've got neighborhood on two sides. It's a neighborhood, it used to be a neighborhood park. You have a neighborhood on two sides, and you have the rest of this going this direction, west, is all commercial. So it's a nice buffer between the commercial and the residential development. I would love to keep it green space. At one point, I thought that the deed restricted, well, it made it difficult to sell it because it had a reversionary clause. It did. But I found out just a few years ago that that clause was removed from the deed legally somehow. So the property could be sold, but I don't want to sell it. I want to keep the green space. It was downgraded amongst four other locations during the recession. And the places that were selected were places that overlapped with other park service areas. So Brown Park is not too far from here.
Unidad is up the street.
I think it's close, but it's outside the service
Right.
area. I think it mainly overlapped with Brown Park. But my hope is to keep the green space and make it even more attractive and more usable. So, just planting the seed.
I know you're not looking for direction, but I am just curious. At some point in time, it was Kiwanis Park, and
Yes.
then there was like the naming rights issue and all that stuff. What would it cost for anybody to come in and rename it? What are those
Well, the
figures?
process, it goes to like for a park, it would go to the board, and then we go to city council
Okay.
with that recommendation. City council makes that determination, that decision.
But is there a cost to that?
No, I mean, you can pay for naming rights. We have a process for that as well.
Okay. Oh, okay. Just curious.
But basically, it just takes the board's recommendation and then city council approval.
Okay. Very cool.
And money always helps.
Right? Right. Say no to a check. All right,
Willoughby
perfect.
Park sounds pretty good. So.
Well, I mean, I full disclosure, I am in Kiwanis, and so I was like, well, I mean, y'all call it Kiwanis Park, and the signage isn't there anymore, right?
No, it's not. I
No.
was hoping you wouldn't ask. Did we save it?
I should have just listened and said, I'm not taking this direction on this.
Yeah,
Sorry.
but at this location, the sign was right here. And
Yeah.
there was a huge clump of, was it yellow bells?
Something.
Yeah, yellow bells.
But if Kiwanis
Esperanza.
ever did want to come and say, we do want the naming rights, whatever it is, I just didn't know what cost would be associated with it. It's the process first to get it approved and all that.
Well, I guess first we'd have to research if there's a legal connection that the name still sticks. Was it officially named Kiwanis Park, and does that have to be revert? I mean,
Something happened back then, I can't
Something,
remember all the
yeah.
details on it. I
we'd
wouldn't,
have to research it first, but
okay, that's all right.
it can be named, yes.
Okay, positivity, I like that. Okay, next item, number 8, hear and discuss updates on key activities, projects, programs, and events from Parks and Recreation divisions.
Good. Jesse, go first?
Sure.
One of the main things that's immediately coming up is tomorrow. I keep having looking up because February 6th from 5 to 7 at Station 618, we're having our senior Valentine's dance. So at the senior center, so just $5 a person. So if you're lonely and need something to do, go
Is it
out there.
Live music?
Yes, they're gonna have, so there's man and woman who go out there and perform at different senior centers, and they have their following. So they'll go out there, he plays bass guitar, and she does the piano. And they can do, country, oldies, and, some Tejano music in there. So they can meet everyone's needs on that. Me and Sam went and checked them out last month. And they had a good crowd there, and several people from our center were out dancing. So walk through the door, and you see people already out there. So I think it's going to be good. The last one that we did in fall did well. And then in March, when we have our daddy-daughter dances, that first week of March, on Thursday will be for the seniors during the day, the daytime portion. So we're trying to make it to where each month we have something like that going, but we're at least going to do several of them throughout the year. So by March, we have already have done as much as we did all of the previous year. So we're excited about that. Some other activities is we're most of the way through youth basketball right now. So over 90 teams have played in our league. So it's good chunk of kids, considering the other options that are out there, how many people choose us. So Sean and Rod did a good job putting that together. Sean Fields has been doing a really good job running that program. And then on our Texas Bank Sports Complex, already, Roger's crew has already had to get stuff ready for tournaments, and it doesn't even feel like baseball season yet, and baseball and softball, and that calendar's pretty full all the way through fall. And once you get to that point of being done with tournaments, it's youth football season again, so it's going to be filled up with those leagues. After the winter, the only freeze that we've seen at the pool in Unidad was there was one pipe at Unidad, but luckily it was above ground, and that was actually fixed today. And then TruTex took the time to find an option to add an additional drain valve and help us out to make sure with winterizing in the future that we can make sure that doesn't happen again, and a learning experience before we get Kirby Park done. But all the attraction parts of it and the system is good. So happy camper there. And then just getting ready for onboarding and hiring for seasonal staff. We have summer day camp coming up and lifeguards. So just getting the word out on that, starting to schedule some job fairs. So if y'all have any places that we can post up at to kind of market, hey, come work for us this summer, a good seasonal work. And that's what we have going on the recreation side.
Nice. Thank you, Jesse.
Any questions? And then if just for next meeting, just some thoughts, because we want to do community events at the park. So things like Santa Rita or the skate park, anything like that. If y'all just have an idea, we can map it out and put it together. It's just we just want to make the time for it. So, if it's, hey, next week we want to put this event together, it's going to be tough. But if we know, hey, June, July, stuff like that, y'all would be interested in an event at a park that y'all have in mind, we can make something happen.
DJ wants to have board meetings out in the parks.
Yeah.
There you go.
You just picked a month. 1 month may be tough. But, yeah.
All right, from the park standpoint, not a whole lot of difference between what we discussed last month, and we had the big list, but we are continuing to work on the storage building over at the sports complex. We're working on skate park repairs downtown. We're looking at starting to resurface one of the courts over at Brown Park. We're removing cane off the river. We're still stump grinding. It's still the year of the garden, so now we're mulching everywhere. And we're, as soon as plants start arriving at the nurseries and places, we'll start making even more purchases to start going in with a lot of the native plants throughout our parks and gardens and City Hall and Visitor Center, Old Town, the Tiered Plaza, all the other gardens that we have, gazebo garden and so forth. So we're excited about that. We're still working, and it's working very well with the state school. I had told you all about that before, where we have folks that are there that come in about 3 times a week. They work half days. They are supervised, And recently, they cleaned all of the beds, the rose beds at Kirby Park, and they finished that project, and we're going to go in and mulch it. And now they're starting over at Civic League Park at the roses there. And so I think it's been a really a good win-win for both. They appreciate the partnership that we have, and we appreciate everything that they bring to the table as well. And probably pretty soon we'll start having them work with trash can painting and some other small jobs that we can take to them, maybe to do in the colder days when they're not out in the field with us. So, and then we're looking forward to Kirby Park, our splash pad. We're already starting with meetings with Altex to start that process, so we're excited about that. We do have our new autonomous line painter over at the sports complex. We're still trying to get the bugs out of it with the company, but I think it's going to work very well. The employees are extremely excited about having that out there. And we're getting ready again for all the tournaments and things that are going on. And so by March, usually we start seeing events pick up quite a bit in our parks, especially down along the river and so forth. And so we'll start slowly, as things start growing, we will start slowly getting out of the winter season back into the growing season type of maintenance, probably starting next month. It goes fast. So, any questions?
Congrats again on the splash pad, getting all the funds raised for that.
Thank you.
Good for you all. Nice. All right. Good there. All right. Next item, consider future agenda items and discuss the next meeting date. March 5th. Tree
Next
clearing.
meeting is Wednesday, March 5, 3:30 PM at this location.
Perfect. All right. Any other discussion? All right. With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll move that we adjourn.
And a second?
I'll second.
All those opposed say aye. Any opposed say nay. All right. Thank y'all. Thanks again, C. Congrats on